On October 17, 2023, Tony Stark looked at Thanos in a ruined compound in upstate New York, said 4 words, and snapped his fingers. The screen faded to black, and the MCU lost its godfather. Energy transfers rather than disappearing, and physics remains a strange thing. Consider if the Mark 85 had one final secret protocol, where the nanotech absorbed the energy instead of channeling it. This story explores a timeline where Iron Man survived, and why that survival might have been the most dangerous event in the universe. In our timeline, the gamma radiation from all 6 stones cooked Tony's internal organs instantly. We change one variable here because the Mark 85 was made of programmable matter, capable of shifting function in milliseconds. As the stones flare in this reality, the suit's AI makes a split-second calculation. The armor detaches the gauntlet's internal connection from his skin to create a microscopic vacuum seal, instead of letting the surge hit Tony's biological body. The suit itself takes the hit by superheating to 3,000 degrees. Tony falls into a coma with his body untouched, while the armor fuses shut around him, glowing with the trapped energy of creation itself. Days turn into weeks as the Avengers bring the fused statue of Iron Man back to the pristine labs of the new compound. Bruce Banner scans the suit and finds the Infinity Stones are dissolving rather than sitting in the gauntlet. The nanotees break down the stones at an atomic level while weaving their singularities into the vibranium gold alloy of the armor. The suit transforms from a container into a living battery. Tony wakes up 2 months later, trapped inside a shell that pulses with the heartbeat of the universe. When he tries to open the faceplate, the Reality Stone answers his thought before his voice does. Tony floats out of the lab, defying gravity without repulsors because the Space Stone is now woven into the boots. The Mind Stone is networked directly into his cerebral cortex to create the Mark Infinity. Early 2024 sees the world reeling from the blip, as billions of people return to a planet that cannot feed them. Resources are scarce, and governments are collapsing. Stark looks at the global energy grid and fixes it in an afternoon, unlike the chaos of our timeline. He creates a network of arc reactors powered by the infinite energy of the Space Stone to provide free, clean power to every nation on Earth. He solves the crisis while making every government obsolete. We built this entire scenario based on a comment from our last video about Doctor Strange, so thank you to the community for these incredible ideas. If you have a what-if scenario you want us to break down next, leave it in the comments below, because we read every single one. Subscribe if you are enjoying this deep dive so you never miss the next theory. The timeline shifts dramatically by late 2024. Consider Peter Parker's identity crisis, where he goes to Mr. Stark instead of Doctor Strange. Tony uses the Reality Stone, rather than casting a spell. He rewrites the digital infrastructure of the internet to delete the data permanently, instead of just erasing news footage. Mysterio's video vanishes from every server on Earth. The multiverse breach never happens, so there is no Green Goblin and no Aunt May tragedy. Peter gets to be a normal kid, but Doctor Strange watches from the sanctum with growing horror because magic requires a cost that Tony pays with raw power. The change happens slowly as the Mind Stone interfaces with Tony's brain and begins to sharpen his thinking. Emotional connections start to look like inefficiencies. He sees no reason to sleep when the Time Stone can loop his rest cycle in a nanosecond. Nor does he argue with the United Nations when the Soul Stone reveals their true intentions. Tony stops taking the suit off by 2025 because the nanotech has bonded with his skin. He adopts the aesthetic of the superior Iron Man from the comics, with silver chrome armor that shines like liquid mercury. He stops attending Avengers meetings to build a utopia in the sky, patrolled by Ultron bots that actually work, because the Mind Stone perfected their code. November 2025 marks the beginning of the Eternals movie events, where Tiamut begins to emerge from the Earth's core. Friday alerts Tony to a seismic anomaly in the Indian Ocean. He teleports instantly, without needing a team. Tony Stark flies down to meet the giant stone hand rising from the sea. Instead of fighting, he uses the Power Stone to shatter the Celestial's energy signature with a single focused beam. He turns a planet-killing god into a statue of harmless marble. The world cheers for their savior, but the Eternals are terrified. Because a human just killed a Celestial and broke the cosmic hierarchy, Tony demands all advanced weapons be surrendered to his custody to prevent another Thanos event. Wakanda refuses, and Namor refuses alongside his underwater kingdom of Talokan. Tension snaps in early 2026, when Shuri leads a coalition to disable Stark's satellite network. The war is short because Tony stops time instead of killing them. He walks through the Wakandan defenses while everyone is frozen, disassembles their weapons, and leaves. The most powerful nation on Earth finds themselves disarmed when time resumes. This moment marks the turning point, where Pepper Potts packs her bags and leaves. The man she loved is gone, replaced by an emperor made of metal and infinity. The remaining heroes realize they must act, so Doctor Strange, Thor, Captain Marvel, and Shang-Chi form a secret circle. They know they cannot beat him in a fistfight and must separate him from the stones. The plan is set for the anniversary of the snap. Strange opens a mirror dimension trap, intending to bind the armor's interface, but they overlook that the Space Stone controls dimensions. Tony shatters the mirror reality like glass. He looks at his old friends with pity rather than anger. He tells them he is saving them from themselves before stripping Thor of the Odin Force using the Reality Stone and sending Captain Marvel to the other side of the galaxy. The sky turns purple in 2026 as the Conqueror arrives. Kang watched this timeline and saw a Nexus event where a mortal holds too much power. He descends with his armada, expecting a fractured Earth, but he finds a planet shielded by a single man. This legendary fight pits Kang's future tech against Stark's infinity armor. Tony struggles for the first time. When Kang freezes time, Tony breaks it, and when Kang rewrites reality, Tony rewrites it back. The battle tears the moon apart. Tony eventually realizes that he is a beacon for challengers, as long as he holds the stones. He wins by obliterating Kang's fleet, but the cost is the absolute destruction of the upper layers of the atmosphere. Tony has a flashback while floating in the debris of the battle. He remembers the vision Wanda showed him back in Age of Ultron, where the Avengers were dead at his feet. He realizes he made that vision come true by succeeding too much rather than by failing. He sees the Earth below, safe but terrified, and he sees his friends defeated and stripped of power. The Soul Stone demands a sacrifice, and finally speaks to him clearly. It asks him what he is willing to lose. He has already lost his family, his friends, and his humanity, so the only thing left to lose is the power itself. Removing the stones is no longer simple, because they are part of his biology. Tony returns to the New York Sanctum, where he finds a defeated Doctor Strange and asks for help with surgery rather than a fight. They need to extract the nanites from his bloodstream. The procedure takes 12 hours of agonizing pain. Stark screams as the Power Stone is ripped from his chest plate. The gems are placed into containment units, one by one. The silver chrome fades from his armor with each removal, returning to the classic hot rod red and gold. Tony collapses when the Mind Stone is pulled free. He becomes just a man again, broken, aging, and mortal. Tony knows he cannot keep the stones because he cannot trust himself or the government. He enacts the final protocol and rebuilds the quantum tunnel. Captain America watches from the sidelines as Tony suits up one last time in a basic Mark 85. Instead of taking the stones to the past, he takes them to the spaces between universes, where the TVA cannot track them. He scatters them across dimensions, where no single hand can ever gather them again. This act ensures that the timeline is safe, but it leaves Earth vulnerable. He trades absolute security for freedom. By 2027, Tony Stark has retired for real. His arm is withered and resembles Dumbledore's blackened hand as a permanent scar from wielding the stones. He lives in the cabin with Morgan. The global energy network he built still runs to keep the world clean as a lasting gift from his time as a god. The Avengers are rebuilding trust. The world knows that Iron Man is no longer their savior, but just a mechanic who fixed the engine and walked away. Yet he sees the code behind the universe every time he looks at the stars. He remembers what it felt like to be everything, and sometimes he misses it. This timeline teaches us something important about the character of Tony Stark. His greatest enemy was his own obsession with control, rather than Thanos, Ultron, or the Mandarin. The suit of armor around the world was always his end goal, and the Infinity Stones were the ultimate way to achieve it. A world that is perfectly safe is also a world that lacks freedom. Even with the power of a god, Tony Stark had to learn the same lesson his father never did, which is that the best thing you can do for the future is to trust it to handle itself. Iron Man surviving the snap sounds like a dream come true, but it turns out to be a nightmare of its own. It transforms a hero into a ruler, and a protector into a prison warden. This story reminds us that heroes are defined by their limits, rather than their powers. Subscribe if you enjoyed this journey into the multiverse to help us keep these theories coming. Thanks for spending your time with us, and we will see you in the next timeline.